everybody. This is Rhonda Cobb, the Money Coach. Welcome to our show. Hey, you know what? You are going to love today's show because joining us as our guest is Neil Haley. And while you don't know Neil just yet, you're going to know him in a couple minutes here. In the background, Neil has been doing some digital marketing and branding for people. And two of our recent shows were Neil's clients who had written books. So, who better to come and tell us the importance of picking the right digital marketing and branding expert? Because if you have a book that you just wrote, or maybe a book you just want to write, or you have a business that you are a solopreneur or a small business owner and you want to get it off the ground, you better know how to get that done. And that's where Neil comes in. Neil works for a company called Social Media Branding Coach. It's called Total Media Marketing. And he's been doing that for over 5 years. And he also works for another company called Linsec. And they will help you with things like SEO. And if you don't know what that is, hang on a second because here's Neil. And he is going to tell us all we need to know about all of this stuff. Welcome to the show, Neil. How are you?
Rhonda, it's a pleasure to be on the show and excited to talk to people about something that, in my opinion, is the most difficult thing, how to market your business in the digital world, especially with people that don't have that experience and don't have the time to really do it. So I appreciate you inviting me on.
Well, I know as a small business owner myself how difficult it is. One of the things that I'm constantly struggling with is the fact that it keeps changing. Every time I think I got it handled, it changes. What do you do for people like that?
Yeah, I mean,
That I can't keep
that's a
up.
great, yeah, yeah, I agree with you. And that's the thing, it always changes. And to give an example, I like to consider myself like a scientist. And sometimes I figure out the system and then the system changes. And that's one of the biggest problems is you constantly have to keep up with what's going on. And a lot of times these experts that come on are giving you a way that they hire you to give you a course that you have to implement yourself. And as you know, Rhonda and I know, we can't take a course unless we have prior knowledge. As a former teacher and still owning a tutoring and consulting company as well, if you don't have the right basics and knowledge in some sort of subject matter, you can't expand it. So that's why I came around in a lot of ways. That's why I came around in a lot of ways is to basically be that resource, be that guide for people to do it so I can do it for them, but also teach them in the same way. But it's just so difficult because it's ever changing. You've got to constantly read up on things. And every social media platform, you have to have a goal and a desire of what you want to accomplish. Sometimes it's going to be to get a lead. And other times it's just to build your brand. So it's a challenging thing for people that are new to this.
And it's a challenging thing for them to know the difference. What do you mean I need to do different things to build my brand and to get a lead? Isn't it all the same? I actually had somebody ask me that right before Christmas. I'm like, no, it's not all the same. And so explain to people the differences between marketing to get a lead and then marketing to build a brand because it's not the same.
That's just a great point. I think that marketing to build a brand comes before marketing to get a lead. The old traditional manners of going and getting leads in your business are still the same. You know, networking, creating relationships, having a great service. But ultimately, if you want to get into the digital world and get leads from the digital world, you have to have a brand first, especially if they want to buy a product or service, your book. You have to have some sort of expertise or knowledge base, influence. So what I want to do is first is build that overall brand, build their following, build their content, make sure they're not static, that their website constantly is updated. They're not just the website, but their social media, that the social media profiles look clean, that they are really expressing what they're looking to market before you look at getting a lead. Because in the digital world, it's different than the personal world. Rhonda, you and I know we can go, if we go to a networking event and somebody's looking for our service, we're going to be able to close them pretty easily. We're going to get their leads. We're going to set them up for a coffee or have a group call, and we're going to get business. But when it comes to the digital world, trust is so important. And if you don't have a brand, they're going to choose someone that has the brand to pick as their service.
Absolutely. And what I found is it all doesn't really work so great if every single thing isn't in sync. Like
Right.
your business Facebook page has to be in sync with your business LinkedIn page, which needs to be in sync with your website, and then any other social media things that your target audience would, be in. Depends on who you're working with, which ones you might choose to join or be on. But don't you find that to be the case, that if they all have a consistent message, you can build your brand a heck of a lot faster?
Yeah, first of all, content is king. And if you're not out there, a lot of people don't look at each one of their sites and what to do. I agree with you, Rhonda, that they have to be in sync, but they're just the way we approach things on each social media platform might be a little different, but also the same, one and the same. You could be running more videos on Facebook and Instagram, but on LinkedIn, you might be putting out more articles. So it has to be different, but really the message goes website out, in my opinion. What your website states for you, what you do, needs to be the way every page looks. And so it's that kind of situation, and that's what works. If you don't have that, forget about it, because people are going to ask you, well, what are you really trying to sell? Well, who are you? And if you go to your Facebook business page or your LinkedIn and they're not connected in some sort of way for the ultimate goal of why you're out there, you're just wasting your time. And Rhonda, I see a lot of people that try to do it themselves, and they're just wasting their time. They'll go and post 20 things one day and not post them for another 3 weeks. Or they'll get in consistent. I found great content, but then they disappear. That's the point of consistency, but also having that brand show up everywhere.
Absolutely. And the one thing that I want to go back to, and really give as a key indicator, you said it, is if someone says to you, what is your service? What are you really selling? You know your presence is flawed and you need help. I just got my whole website redesigned for that reason alone. Somebody said that to me and I freaked out. What do you mean? What am I really selling? Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
And then I had
and Rhonda, that website's such an important thing, because that's the first place people check out. If you think that they all just decide to go and call you, that's not it. They're going to go check your website. They're going to check your LinkedIn page. They're going to check your social media out before they even consider leaving an email or direct messaging you or whatever.
Absolutely. They do. They really do. Now tell us about, because there are going to be a lot of novices that did not just spend a whole bunch of time and money redoing their website. Talk to them and tell them a little bit about the importance of the backside of your social media network or spider web or whatever you want to call it. That SEO stuff and the backside of it. The administrative side.
Oh gosh, the administration. But see, the thing that's missing in all these components is social is becoming very important, involving SEO. But if you're looking at specifically SEO, it's content is king. I'll keep bringing this up 100 times. If your website is static, if you don't utilize a WordPress website, and I'm sorry to tell you, if people say, well, I spent so much money building this website, WordPress is the best for SEO, bottom line. However, it sometimes will not be as customized as hiring a customized designer. But make sure that customized designer has SEO experience. And make sure once you have your website built, you can take it over. Because if you're going to spend hours and hours with somebody in an IT world trying to do the marketing for you, you're just going to have a static website that's going to look pretty, but it's going to not get on to those Google rankings. You're not going to continue to see your page views go up. You're not going to see more traffic and more that they Google you in specific areas show up unless you have a WordPress website and you're updating your content constantly. I'm talking once or twice a week, but meaning you got stuff going out. If it's a newsletter, if it's a blog, if it's a radio interview, you're constantly updating your website, not for your fans. Remember that, because social media is enough for your fans, but for your website, it's for Google, because Google continues to crawl that website every day to say, hey, are your links, making sure everything in SEO is clicking so that they can rank you high. Because if you're not focusing on what you're trying to sell and get ranked on Google, forget about it. You're gonna miss the boat.
Absolutely. And I can't tell you the cheap thrill that I got when I got an email from Google that said, you have risen in the ranking. And I went and Googled myself and I came up first.
That's good. That's great.
I was like, really? How did that happen? Oh my God. And it was right after I had gone into the administrative part of my old website and said, what was I thinking letting the IT guy pick the words that were the SEO words? And I went through and I redid the whole thing. And boom, I raised in the rankings because, I'm like, he wasn't as well versed on what a money coach does as I thought he was when he built the website.
Oh, exactly. And that's so important, and see what a money coach is able to do is something to help make people money. And if you're not showing that you can, then you're not exhibiting your brand, your message, your messaging to get out to the resources available. Because that's the biggest problem. People don't understand, once they have a business, how do I market that business in the digital world? Businesses don't get it at all on there. They really don't. And unless they have deep pockets that can spend on Google ads and Facebook ads all day long and LinkedIn ads, they're never going to get their message out to the masses, because they just don't get what it means to have a focused vision and mission for your business.
Absolutely. And that's why they need help. And that's why it is a money coach thing to talk about this kind of thing. How you pick your marketing representative is crucial. It could make or break the profitability of your business. You could be going along just fine, or you think you're going along just fine. And if I look at your financials and I say, you're not spending any money on marketing, you're spending a minimum on advertising, and then I'm just hell on wheels when it comes to business financials. And then you've got this, and this, where you really could be saving a bundle of money. You need to take that money and put it into marketing and advertising. Then you might actually have something. So at the end of the year, you actually have a net income. And
exactly, because there's a lot of businesses, when you talk about authors or people with services that are consultants or freelancers, that don't put their money into marketing. And at the end of the day, they really don't have much coming out at the end of the year.
Right. And it's just, well, again, it's an avoidable situation. If they just accept, I cannot do all things. I need to delegate some things. And for me, the things that I have to delegate always are wrapped around IT, because it just isn't my thing. It's never been my thing. But that doesn't mean that I can't make LinkedIn sing, because I can, and I do. But it's taken me 5 years to build up all those followers and to learn how to do all that stuff. And I think back over that time and energy invested, and I took